So one of your two types of labs fall into the category of things that you can do on your own. So I'm excited about this list of opportunities of things that you can do on your own. And you're going to notice that some of them you need a telescope for, and some of you need binoculars for, etc. This first one, though, Constellations Lab, you don't need binoculars or a telescope. But before I kind of go in and go through each one, just kind of briefly, I want to point out those two important dates that I think I have mentioned throughout different documents, October 10th and November 21st. By October 10th, you need to have turned in two of your lab write-ups. So if October 10th comes and goes and you don't have any lab write-ups turned in, you're going to automatically get a hard, you'll get a 0 for labs 1 and 2. I go on to say that you can get partial credit if you turn those first two labs in, but only partial credit. Similarly then, November 21st comes, and by that date you need to turn in your labs, your other two labs. So keep those dates in mind. So let's take a look at the Constellations Lab. The Constellations Lab is you get to go out and take a sky map with you, a paper sky map with you, and find constellations, sets of stars that match up. And sometimes students will say, how many constellations do I need to find? Well, I tell them 3, 4, 5, okay? And yes, you can bring a friend with you. So let me know if you have any questions. Notice, though, to get full credit for this, that you need to go ahead and take that paper, okay, that sky map, and on the sky map you need to put down the date, the time, and the general viewing location. Let's see. So your second opportunity is just in general, find a planet. We've got a few of them around right now, but find one of the planets that we can see with a telescope. That would be Mercury or Venus. They're kind of always close to the sun, near sunset or sunrise, and Jupiter or Saturn. And we'll be talking about different ways to, or we'll probably be talking throughout the semester about where the planets are, but feel free to go ahead and look it up on the internet. So notice that you do need to use a telescope for this one, okay? And you need to go ahead and describe the telescope you used and write a paragraph of what you saw to get credit for that. So if you don't have a telescope, maybe you know somebody that does have a telescope. So I'm just saying. You have two opportunities to do things on your own with regard to the moon. And this first one is just simply viewing the moon. And notice that this one you do need either a small telescope or a pair of binoculars will also work for this lab you do on your own. And I am after a sketch. And so don't feel bad if you're not an artist. I've seen all sorts of different sketches ranging from awesome to, oh, well, that's pretty good. Okay, so to get credit for this, you need to include a sketch, and again, kind of generally, or where you viewed and when you viewed, and also a paragraph. So you want full credit for that. Your sixth opportunity, just in general, falls in the category of meteor showers. And so we'll be talking more about why we, throughout the year, get kind of these heavy bombardments of material falling through the Earth's atmosphere, and we call them meteors. Here's some kind of approximate dates, and again, I would refer you to look at the internet as far as when they really are peaking and which one's going to be good this year, that sort of thing. Again, we'll kind of stay in touch with that. Notice, I think if you read the write-up, I'm after you to see, I think, 5 meteors. Meteors are the same thing as what we call a falling star or a shooting star. Okay, and basically it has nothing to do with the star. The Earth is passing through, or debris left by a comet, if it's a meteor shower, debris left by either a comet or asteroid, but just miscellaneous material falling through the Earth's atmosphere will make these streaks. So you can see the documentation down there. Another thing you can do on your own, take your family, is to go to a planetarium. And from this area, I know that I've been to the Adler several times. It's a great planetarium. The difference between a planetarium and an observatory is, in general, a planetarium doesn't have telescopes. It's a little more like an IMAX theater, kind of little museum for space. And an observatory does have telescopes. Okay, so visit a planetarium. You can see what your documentation is required. So the last one, actually, I need to pull up another couple of documents here. You have an opportunity to, for 28 days, look at the moon and write down what you see. It's called a moon journal. So a couple of things that go along with the moon journal. These are the 1 through 28 days of looking at the moon, the date you looked at it, the time you looked for it or looked at it, conditions of the weather. Now, sometimes it's possible that if it's cloudy, just write cloudy, and you didn't see it. Okay, the phase of the moon, and we'll be talking more about that. What direction you saw the moon, and any other miscellaneous comments you'd like to make. So I have, along with that, some kind of hints of what I'm after for each column. But those first hints are hints of where to look to see the moon. And I guess more like not where to look, but these say when to look. Okay, we're going to talk about phases of the moon. And if anybody says the phase of the moon is a new moon, what they're saying is basically the moon is kind of between the Earth and the Sun. And so you're not going to be able to see the moon. After a new moon phase, it takes about a week to go ahead, to go from new moon to first quarter. And a first quarter moon will rise in the east relatively early in the morning and set in the west relatively early in the evening. Okay, so don't look for a first quarter moon, for instance, like at midnight. You won't see it. Okay, those are my kind of my hints. And actually, I have one more document to show you for moonrise and moon set. So that should hopefully be helpful too. Full moons generally rise at 6 and set at 6, generally speaking. The last quarter moon to follow the full moon, those are late rising moons. Okay, so hopefully that'll help. And I kind of have down here what I'm after for each column. And it's just for the city of Keokuk. Ooh, the big city of Keokuk. But you can print this out for your specific location. You just Google moonrise and moonset times, and you'll be able to create your own table for your own location. So this could be very helpful, okay, to find the moon. So any of those 8 opportunities will give you lab credit.